Hello and welcome to today's Food Ingredients First hosted webinar. I'm Elizabeth Green, the moderator for the webinar from Eurial I&N today. I'm the Deputy Editor of CNS Media, which is the publisher of the World of Food Ingredients First, and Nutrition Insight. Before we get started, I'd like to let our listeners know that you can submit any questions you wish to be answered through the Q&A engagement tool. Any questions that we don't have time to respond to during today's session can be answered via email following the presentation. The webinar will also be available on demand on foodingredientsfirst.com. A link to view the on-demand webinar will be emailed to you after the presentation. Today's webinar is presented by Eurial I&N, the B2B division, which is the food service and industry division of Eurial. The webinar is entitled Sports and Active Nutrition, Let's Find the Way. The sports nutrition market is a dynamic segment that is rapidly attracting new consumers, each of whom has their own set of goals and expectations. To stand out from the crowd and to meet these expectations, brands need to innovate. This applies not only to performance, but also to taste, transparency, and the way product information is provided. Today, more than 80% of sports nutrition products are proteins. Understanding protein is therefore key to unlocking the product innovation to fuel growth. Eurial I&N understands the challenges and opportunities facing sports nutrition manufacturers. The company believes there's never been a better time to find out more about whey protein solutions and how they can meet your needs for high-quality proteins. In today's webinar, experts from the company will be exploring areas such as the reasons for its popularity in sports nutrition and its benefits in terms of both health and taste. Additionally, the company has prepared a unique series of ready-to-use concepts focusing on the latest consumer trends. There are 3 speakers hosting the webinar today. Firstly, let me introduce Nick Morgan, Managing Director and Consultant at Nutrition Integrated. Nick works closely with companies in sport, active, and lifestyle nutrition regarding their approach to strategy and innovation. Nick's primary focus is understanding how the science, the consumer, and the market integrate and supports many companies across the supply chain to identify how to get in, do better, or establish where next in a market based on their business objectives. Our next speaker is Delphine Pelfren, Marketing Manager for Food and Sports Nutrition Solutions at Eurial I&N. With a diploma in food engineering and more than 15 years marketing experience in a range of food sectors, Delphine has extensive knowledge of dairy markets. She also leads the I&N Sports and Active Nutrition range. Her responsibilities include analyzing consumer trends and ensuring the company's range of high-quality functional and nutrition solutions meet the needs of its dynamic market. Last but not least, our third speaker today is Pauline Lagoa, Application Development Manager. Pauline has 20 years experience in the global dairy industry. Her areas of expertise include new product development, project management, and B2B marketing. Pauline heads up the Eurial I&N application team, which supports the food, health, and nutrition industries with healthy and natural product solutions. So to begin today's presentation, I will hand over to Nick. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Liz. Really appreciate the introduction and welcome to everyone listening. Also a big thank you to Eurial I&N for the invitation to help present on sports nutrition, as I call it, Sports Nutrition 2.0, which is effectively how is sports nutrition evolving. What does it look like today? And of course, where do we believe the opportunities are in the future? So it's a great opportunity to do that. So that's where I'll start. I'll try to take you on a whistle-stop tour over this sort of 8 to 9 to 10 minutes about the sports nutrition industry and just some key insights I believe are important for everyone to take on. So as a starting point, I think it's always important to just reflect on the origins of sports nutrition. Where did it begin? What did it look like? And I think the visuals that you can see on this slide give you a good understanding. So on the top layer of imagery, you see some of the original visuals that we used to depict what sports nutrition was all around. and all about. And you can see that it was very aesthetic. Of course, it wasn't just males. There's also some females in there, but it was fundamentally about a desire for a bigger and a more toned body. Now, the market has evolved, and it did evolve up to a point, and it still includes that aesthetic driver for consumers. Excuse me. And the images at the bottom give you an appreciation that those consumers do range from the extreme, so the bodybuilder on the left, all the way through to the more achievable, so the everyday aesthetic view that Steve Cook and the female provide. And you can see that that's very much what sports nutrition was about. Now, if I go back to some of the data in 2014, which is here is presented or provided by Euromonitor, you can see that whilst, as mentioned in the introduction, 80% of the total revenue of sports nutrition comes from protein, when you actually break that down in 2014, nearly 80% of that 80 was in fact powders, and then 11% from bars and 11% from RTD or ready to drinks. So that was the market back then, but it has changed. It is changing. And when you look at the imagery today, it very much emphasizes a trend that we would describe as sports nutrition going mainstream. I think there's a number of interpretations of that, but the visuals give you a good understanding. So those taken from leading brands across Europe, such as MyProtein and Bulk, and also PhD, you can see how powders are now not necessarily just always consumed in a shaker. They can be consumed very much in glasses of everyday drink, and you can see how color and flavor are important to them. Yes, we've still got the imagery within the gym, so still very aspirational focused, but you can see more femininity coming in visuals, and you can see more everyday activities, not confined to the gym environment. And of course, the final images on the right, you see the more active and the more convenient foods and on-the-go propositions, bars, pancakes, and so forth. And if you then look at the data from Euromonitor in 2021, then the total revenue still coming from protein is broadly the same, but look at the split, just over 50% from powders, down from 78%. Look at the growth in bars, which I think you can take as a surrogate measure of overarching high protein convenience, offering a greater solution to the consumer, so that we're covering not just the acute periods around training, but also their 24-hour nutrition needs. And just reflecting there on figure 3, what you're also seeing is the compound annual growth rates, which is showing that bars at around about 17% is currently the highest growth rate within the formats contributing to powder, which is emphasizing very much sports nutrition, I believe, going mainstream. So what does that mean? Well, the brands are changing. They're having to adapt. And I suppose on the left-hand side, you had the original brands, like the old guard, let's call them, very much aesthetic focused and bodybuilding focused. And then now the new guard, more lifestyle based on exercise and healthy nutrition, but still around the gym environment and everyday exercise. But they've sort of segmented into performance, so still a faster, higher, stronger component. And, you know, they're still there trying to drive the importance of exercise to achieve someone's goals. But you've also got more of an active component, a group of brands that are maybe a little bit more natural. They're looking for some greater messages around sustainability. They are offering something that they believe is more lifestyle and everyday nutritional needs. And FoodSpring here is a good example. Now, to find their space, you've got brands now doing more of a focus on exactly who they are. MyProtein is a great example of a direct-to-consumer model, and they're offering everything that they possibly can to the consumer and do a phenomenal job. Science and sport from an endurance point of view, women's best from female, and then barbells is a great example of healthy snacking and fuel in terms of convenient food. People are finding their niche beyond the one-size-fits-all or the one-stop shop, such as a direct-to-consumer model. And just to emphasize that the emergence of these brands, the influence they're having on the market, you can see the recent acquisition of Grenade from Mondelez for over £200 million only last month is a real emphasis that people are looking into sports nutrition. They're seeing the format, the high protein, the convenience, and also what they're offering people in terms of a healthy lifestyle is very much aspirational to a much broader set of consumers. So let me just take that one step further. So if we try to think about innovation and particularly look at powders, what's quite interesting on here is you can see an eclectic view of products here that very much emphasizes the whey protein range that you would see on the sports or within the sports nutrition market. So they're numbered 1 to 8, and let me just tell you what they are. So 1 and 2, as shown by my protein, is whey protein concentrate. Number 2, whey protein isolate. Number 3, you would typically find a higher percentage whey protein isolate, as shown here from Body and Fit. Number 4, hydrolyzed whey protein. Number 5 is native whey, which is a really interesting area. 6, the organic. And then 7 is where you get this really premium product. So you get a blend of different protein sources, and very much the whole concept is around the best of the best for maybe the smaller or the niche consumer who's looking for the most refined whey protein product possible. And then the new kid on the block, number 8, which is the clear whey, which is more not a shake, but a drink. Now that ultimately is the mainstay of the whey protein powder category within sports nutrition. And then you can see that majority of those, or 37% of products across Europe, are blends, whilst 30% are whey protein isolate on their own and whey protein concentrate at 27%. The point of the slide is, this is the whey protein category. It's very developed, but the use of some of these more higher or more premium whey protein sources like native, organic, offer really interesting innovation as they feed into the trends that are growing with the industry, such as naturalness, sustainability, and so on. And then number 8, I must reflect on, does an incredible job at changing the perception of whey protein from being a shake into a drink, and that changes the whole complexion of it for consumers. And then just finally, as a final slide, just to reflect on snacking and bars in particular, we said that it's got the highest growth rate within the market, which I think is a really important point. And there's been a significant shift in that in terms of the contribution of revenue within sports nutrition. We at Nutrition Integrate track over 2,000 products across Europe in terms of bars, including protein bars within that. And we are tracking what is listed and what's delisted. And the long and short of this story, the long and short of this slide, is that over the last 6 months, what you're seeing is an 8% increase in the number of products brought into the market, but similarly, the same amount are also being delisted and going out of the market. What does that mean? It basically means that there's significant innovation launches, but there's a high churn rate. So arguably, what you're finding is that a bar becomes old within 2 to 3 years if it's not reinvented or re-innovated or renovated in some form. And effectively, every 6 months, a new bar is launched and would supersede the previous best bar as defined by the consumer in the market. What does that mean? It really means that there is never not a day that the brands out there should be innovating if they're going to stay ahead of the curve. They need to be finding new solutions to emphasize taste, texture, flavor, also quality of formulation. They need to continue to evolve their products so that they meet the expectations of consumers and so that they stay at the forefront of sports nutrition as it evolves. Because as a final point, it's very much a sports nutrition 2.0, and it is evolving quickly. And to stay ahead of the game needs fundamentally a huge purpose and focus on innovation. So with that, I hope that was enjoyable for the last few minutes and gives you a little bit of insight into the acceleration and the evolution of sports nutrition, and should hopefully prime nicely for Eurial I&N to provide some really interesting insight about some of the solutions that they are offering their customers. So thank you. Over to you, Delphine.
Thank you, Nick. As Nick has made clear, the sports nutrition market is very dynamic. That's true in the sense that it's attracting new consumers, and also in the sense that it's a sector where we're seeing a lot of innovation. Before going any further, I want to make 3 important points about where sports nutrition is right now. First, this is a market where sales are growing, and that's predicted to continue. The growth projections are about 6% per year over the next 5 years. Second, the category is becoming more mainstream, and that means that performance is not the only driver for innovation. Brands need to follow the main key trends to stand out and meet consumers' expectations, which include healthy snacking, transparency, and indulgence. The concept that we will present later will illustrate how innovative new products can meet all these needs. Last but not least, this is a market dominated by protein. In 2020, protein products accounted for more than 87% of sports nutrition market sales. Before I go into more detail about protein in sports nutrition, a few words on Eurial I&N. We are a part of Eurial, a French agricultural and agri-food cooperative, which supports its farmers' members every day to promote and sell their products. Committed to high-performing and responsible farming, Eurial offers consumers traceability and healthy, safe, tasty food. Eurial's 12,500 farmer members and 22,000 employees embody the company's values: long-termism, localism, solidarity, and boldness. In 2020, the group generated 6 billion euros in turnover. As the milk division of the Eurial Cooperative Group, Eurial produces traditional and organically farmed cows and goats' milk. This is processed into dairy products and specialty ingredients. Eurial I&N is the B2B division of Eurial, with a wide range of dairy products from cheese to specialty ingredients for food service and industrial customers. We are based solely in France, where we have 3 industrial facilities, but we operate globally in 90 countries. We provide nutritional and functional solutions based on milk and whey to the global food and health and nutrition industry. Because we are part of a large cooperative, Eurial I&N can guarantee traceability at every step of the supply chain. The milk we use is produced on farms close to the production sites. The whey we use is fully traceable. We also use technology that respects raw material and preserve all their nutritional and functional properties. So we use clean membrane filtration processes with no chemicals, new state-of-the-art equipment for our new WPC and WPI. Over the course of many years, we've developed a huge amount of expertise on dairy protein in 3 areas: R&D, marketing, and business development. Our only goal is to meet our customers' needs and to support them in their product development. Also, our application team provides finished product concepts that help customers get the very best from our ingredients. We'll show you some of those in a few minutes. I&N offers a full range of whey protein for sports nutrition. They can help meet the different needs of manufacturers in terms of functionality, origin, and protein levels to build a full range of end products for consumers. The must-have proteins in sports nutrition, WPC 80 and WPI, our Eurinutri 80 WPC and Eurinutri 90 WPI proteins are the latest protein in our range. They are part of a new line producing using a new state-of-the-art process. At I&N, we make a number of commitments to our customers for our new WPC and WPI. Protein with stable composition and full traceability, protein with a high microbiological quality, and with low fat and low lactose content. Our range also includes 2 proteins that can provide additional value to meet specific consumer requirements, both in terms of performance and ethical concern like transparency. Native whey protein, directly extracted from skim milk, our Eurinutri 80 NS, and our grass-fed whey protein, grass-fed 80 WPC. So, as mentioned, proteins are essential in sport nutrition. They are also a key element in new product development. In 2020, 1 every 2 lunches had a high protein or source of protein claim. That applies across all formats, powders, bar, and RTDs. Furthermore, 4 out of 10 lunches contains dairy protein, and the main dairy protein used in sport nutrition products are whey protein. In the case of RTM powders, for example, the top 3 dairy protein used, either alone or in a blend, are whey protein concentrate, which is used in half of the new product launch, whey protein isolate, which is used in 46% of new product launch, and whey protein hydrolysate. So, now Pauline will focus on the whey protein, exploring why they are so popular in sports nutrition and how they can be used in different applications and concepts.
Hi everyone. In the first part of this talk, I will explain why whey proteins are the most common proteins used in sport nutrition. I will then present 5 application concepts, demonstrating that Eurial I&N whey proteins can be used in a wide range of sport applications. Now, let's answer the big question. Why are whey proteins the most common proteins used in sport nutrition? Well, it's because whey protein is an excellent source of high-quality protein. It has grown in popularity in recent years because of its ability to efficiently deliver high-quality protein in a convenient form. Whey proteins contain all 9 essential amino acids, and they are the best source of leucine. Second, they are easy to digest and quickly absorb, ensuring rapid delivery to amino acids into the bloodstream. And finally, they are highly digestible, meaning they are available for the body right after digestion. So, as everybody knows, exercise and nutrition are essential to maintain and build muscle. Protein is a key component, especially branched-chain amino acids like leucine. In the diagram below, you can see that leucine plays a key role in muscle synthesis. A rapid increase of leucine levels in plasma activates the enzyme mTOR, which stimulates muscle synthesis. By consuming high-quality proteins after training, we can stimulate muscle protein synthesis, helping muscle recovery and the production of new muscle tissue. This slide shows us the percentage of essential amino acids and leucine in different protein sources. What stands out here is that whey has the highest percentage of essential amino acids, around 52%, and the highest level of leucine, about 14. Now, to illustrate the fact that whey proteins are quickly absorbed, let's take a look at this graph. In this study, the concentration of leucine in blood was measured after the ingestion of 3 types of proteins, whey, casein, and soy. As you can see, whey induces a dramatic and fast, but short, increase in leucine levels. Casein and soy, meanwhile, induce a prolonged plateau. Whey is called fast protein because it remains soluble in the stomach. After consumption, the proteins are quickly digested and absorbed and result in a rapid delivery of amino acids into the bloodstream. Another benefit of whey proteins is that they can be consumed before or after exercise without digestion being an issue. All right, so we have seen that whey proteins have an excellent aminogram and are fast proteins. Another parameter to consider is digestibility. It corresponds to the amount of ingested protein, which is effectively available for the body after digestion and absorption. Different scoring systems are used to compare the quality of different proteins. In the past, the recommended scoring method was a protein digestibility corrected amino acid score called PDCAS. In this approach, whey protein is one of the highest quality protein sources available. However, PDCAS is known to overestimate the value of lower quality proteins. This is why, in 2013, a new score was recommended to replace it, called DIAS. The DIAS values for whey protein concentrates are usually greater than 1.2, while some plant proteins will only weigh in at around 0.8. So it is safe to say that whey remains the highest quality protein source on the market. But what does it mean in terms of muscle protein synthesis? In this study, the rate of muscle protein synthesis in young men was measured after the ingestion of 3 different protein sources, whey, soy, and casein, both at rest and after exercise. Muscle protein synthesis at rest and after exercise was higher with the ingestion of whey proteins. This study found that muscle protein synthesis following whey consumption was approximately 122% greater than with casein and 31% greater than with soy. This may be related to the leucine content of the protein consumed and how quickly it is digested. Put simply, the consumption of whey protein stimulates muscle protein synthesis to a greater extent than either casein or soy. This obviously relates to the growth and maintenance of muscle mass, but it's also relevant to the development of products related to recovery and endurance. Now, I'm going to show you 5 sport application concepts, which we developed in our R&D center using our whey proteins. In these applications, we use different whey protein sources based on our large offering Delphine presented earlier. If you remember, in our range, we have whey proteins coming from 2 sources, milk and whey. Eurial I&N is a native whey protein directly extracted from milk. Grass-fed 80WPC is our grass-fed whey protein. Eurial I&N and Eurial 90WPI are whey proteins coming from our new plant. Now, let's have a closer look at the applications. There are some on-trend concepts using I&N whey proteins, and hopefully they will give you some inspiration for your NPD. Our first application is a delicious WPI shake, which has a natural strawberry flavor and is sweetened with stevia. The main ingredient is Eurial 90WPI instant, which accounts for 92% of the formulation. This shake is high in protein and low in lactose, so it's designed to be easier on your stomach. Eurial 90WPI instant is lecitinated with sunflower lecithin, and this persists really well, making it easy to use at high levels of infusion. Now, let me tell you a bit more about Eurial 90WPI instant and its benefits. First, it's a protein that comes exclusively from a sweet whey source. Because of this, we can guarantee stable composition all year round. It's produced with 1 source of whey only, always from a dedicated factory, guaranteeing absolute traceability and a good carbon footprint. It also has optimal microbiological quality, thanks to special whey pretreatments carried out during the process. In addition to its consistency, Eurial 90WPI offers a great taste, a pleasant creaminess, and a mouthfeel for your beverage. The second application is a high-protein clear water. This type of beverage is a great alternative to protein shakes. It's fresh, light, and refreshing, and good for hydration at any time of the day. The beverage we have developed here is low in fat and sugar and high in protein. It contains 93% of Eurial 90WPI. I really want to drive your attention here to one particular benefit of this protein. It tastes great, and this won't change from batch to batch thanks to its whey provenance. The taste will be constant because it always comes from the same source of whey, the same factory, and the same process. Another great benefit of this protein is that it mixes very well and won't generate a lot of foam in your shaker. So it's an ideal base for a range of exciting high-protein, refreshing drinks. Now, let's talk about our delicious high-low bar. It has a soft and chewy texture and is high in protein and fiber and low in sugar. Protein bars are complex, and in this application, our goal was to balance health benefits with indulgence. We wanted to achieve a good composition without compromising on taste and texture, keeping in mind that for consumers, it's always about flavor and mouthfeel. We know that texture is typically optimized by blending different types of protein. In this case, we blended Eurial I&N, Eurial 90WPI, and milk protein Eurial 85 to optimize the firmness and the cohesiveness of the bar, and also to ensure good processability and shelf life. We really understand the importance of shelf life in bars. This is versatile protein blend, which can be used in different types of bar application with layers, inclusions, or even filled bars. Our fourth application is a protein ball. What stands out here is the ingredients list. There are only 6 ingredients, and they are all natural. What's great about this product is that it's not too processed, and it offers clean energy, high protein, and great taste to consumers. We use our grass-fed WPC 80 because it's a great match for the clean and natural image of the protein balls. But it's not just clean label, it's also a healthy, tasty, and convenient snack. It's been really exciting to see protein powders becoming more mainstream, and also to see consumers becoming more creative with indulgent home baking recipes. We wanted to be creative too, so our last concept, which by the way is a really good one, is our high protein indulgent milk cake. It's super quick to make and delivers 21 grams of protein per serving. It's a delicious way to hit daily protein requirements, and it's perfect as a snack and at any time of the day. In order to achieve perfect texture after only 45 seconds in the microwave, we used a blend of Eurial I&N 80 WPC and milk protein Eurial 85. But even with a high level of protein, the cake is soft and moist, just delicious. Our protein ingredient solutions work very well in a wide range of bakery applications, including pancakes and muffins, for example. We would love to talk to you about all the other exciting home baking recipes we have worked on in our labs. All right, everyone. We hope we have captured your imagination and given you an idea of what you can achieve with our range of ingredient solutions. As you have seen, we have a great range of whey protein products which can be used in different sport applications and deliver benefits in terms of texture and taste as well as nutrition. If you want more information about our concepts or our products, please contact us. We will be delighted to support you with your development and send you samples for you to test. Thank you, everyone. Now I will hand over to Elizabeth to start the Q&A session.
Thank you, everyone, for this great presentation. This is Elizabeth Green once again from Food Ingredients First, and I'll now host a Q&A session with our listeners and speakers. Some great questions have been sent in, so thank you in advance. First question to get us started is from one of our listeners, and it's for Delphine. So, Delphine, what is the difference between grass-fed 80 WPC and Eurial 80 WPC? Over to you.
Thanks for the question, Elizabeth. Well, both are WPC 80, and they have both a high microbiological quality. Also, each of them is made from a unique source of whey, granting stable composition and food traceability. As we are part of a large cooperative committed to responsible farming, we are highly conscious of the importance of ethics and localism, and we observe best practice all the way from the field where the cows are raised to our factories. Where the two products are different is that grass-fed 80 WPC is a whey protein concentrate from high-quality PDO cheese. It's produced from milk from grass-fed cows with one of the most demanding grass-fed specifications on the market. The farmers who produce the milk for grass-fed 80 WPC lead their herds to pasture when conditions are optimal for the animals, in order to respect their welfare and guarantee them an all-you-can-eat fresh grass supply.
That's great, Delphine. Thank you very much. So our next question now is for Pauline, and it is, do you see an increase of WPC use in sports nutrition in the coming years? And if so, in which applications? Pauline, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Elizabeth. So yes, absolutely. I do see an increase of WPC use in sport nutrition. Actually, I've got 2 points here. So the first one, Delphine and Nick told you earlier, the whey protein sport supplement market has been completely transformed over the last few years, becoming more mainstream. So today, there is a clear opportunity to target more recreational users who want more transparency and indulgence, and whey proteins have clearly a role to play here. So my second point is more about the versatility of whey protein. We saw earlier that whey proteins are key in sport nutrition thanks to their unique nutritional properties. Whey proteins have also a neutral taste, making them compatible with a wide variety of flavors. They also have a lot of functional benefits such as water binding, gelation, thickening, foaming, emulsifying, making them very interesting to use in different food matrix. So thanks to this versatility, whey proteins can be used in a wide range of sport applications, such as RTM beverages that we saw earlier, acidic RTDs, protein gels, protein bars, and they can also be added into more traditional foods like brownies, cookies, pancakes, muffins, and they are more indulgent for consumers.
Thank you, Pauline. That's really interesting. Okay, so I think we have a few more questions from our listeners now and a few more minutes to answer them. Our next question is for Delphine, and the question is, as the offer for plant-based proteins is increasing, what do you think about this trend, and do you plan to offer plant-based proteins for sport? Delphine, over to you. Are you able to share your insights with us and our listeners?
Yes. Dairy and plant-based are often presented as opposites, and people often focus on the difference between them rather than parallels. However, consumers are increasingly concerned about their health and about sustainability, and they're looking for solutions that are healthy, nutritional, but also ethical. These are key reasons for the flexitarian trends. As you have seen today, our protein offers high nutritional value. The milk is local, our members follow responsible farming practices, and our ingredients are extracted using gentle process. Furthermore, we are part of the Eurial cooperative group, which has 4 production sectors, including cereals, fruits, vegetables, as well as dairy. Due to the history and know-how of Eurial, as well as the consumer concerns, we are interested in plant ingredients and plant-based protein.
Thank you. That's very, very interesting. On to, I think, which is going to be our last and final question now, which is for Pauline. What is the difference between WPC 80 and WPI in terms of functionality? Pauline, over to you.
Yes, all right. So our WPC 80 and WPI 90 are from the same sweet whey. The key difference is that WPI goes through an extra step of filtration to achieve a further refinement, giving it a higher protein content. WPI contains less fat and less lactose than WPC. Both WPI and WPC are rich in protein, but WPI has a higher concentration of protein, 90%, while WPC is 80%. So the minimal traces of lactose in whey protein isolate make it easier on the stomach, providing a more suitable option for consumers with lactose sensitivity.
Thank you, Pauline. That's very interesting and really insightful. Okay, I think that's about all we have time for today. So thank you to everyone involved in today's Q&A session and the presentation. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into the webinar brought to you by Eurial I&N. Before we sign off, I'd also like to let you know that all questions that we didn't have time to answer today will be answered via email. You can also check your inbox for an on-demand version, which will be sent out to you shortly. Finally, you can keep up with the latest developments in industry news at foodingredientsfirst.com, where you can also sign up to our newsletters. Thank you, everyone.